Welcome back to the Weird and Proud Podcast. It's Sam and James. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
What up, weirdlings?
What up, weirdlings? Hope everyone's having a great week. Lots of things to discuss. And, you know, with spooky season and just like the last over a month of our weeks of content we've been doing on here have been a lot of like, you know, of course, spooky stuff, a lot of like kind of, you know, crazy, not negative, but like not negative, but just like, you know, spooky energy, death, murders, ghosts, killings. A lot of like, you know, stuff, of course, that I love. But as we come around this corner and go into holiday season and, you know, getting through this week of doom and gloom, I feel like, with the election and just the sun setting earlier, you know, the seasonal depression is starting. I felt like we need to do like a little happy episode.
It's time to start being thankful for Thanksgiving.
Right. Exactly, James. Thanksgiving's coming up. My birthday is this week. So just saying. So we're going to kind of do a little variety of topics, but all of them kind of being good news, more positive, weird things.
Positive weird. I like it.
Positive weird. Just like kind of get over like this hump of, you know, again, I feel like the news, the media is just.
You have to explore the dark and spooky to know what the light is. They wouldn't exist without each other.
Wow, that's beautiful. Chills. Goosebumps.
You're welcome.
So we're going to do like some, you know, a little variety again of topics. Things to look forward to. We're going to talk about how we went to the Yellowstone premiere. And I embarrassed myself per usual.
You did awesome.
Like, you know, I think some people beg to differ, but we're going to talk about Yellowstone. We're going to talk about, you know, this crazy story about the monkeys escaping.
I can't wait to hear more about this one. You've been diving deep on this, and I need an update.
I've been kind of obsessed with this, but also it's like a little sad to some degree, but we're going to try and make it happy. Also, like me and James, well, James specifically has been really harping on the fact that we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. So I did find a list of things we could do to celebrate Thanksgiving.
As a whole, like I know we do. I think we do a pretty good job, but people skip to Christmas way too damn early.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's the same thing with Halloween, like earlier and earlier every year. You know, we're just like looking for ways to like bring some sort of joy to our lives. And I respect it. Like if it does, like if you feel so much joy putting your Christmas tree up on November 1st, amazing. But like maybe, you know, like also put up some turkeys, you know, like maybe there are some things that you can do to celebrate and respect and honor Thanksgiving. And we're going to talk about it.
I love it.
And we also, with my birthday coming up, I was like, just like looking for fun articles to talk about. And I did find, you know, I feel like the couple weeks leading up to my birthday, especially as I get older, I become more and more nostalgic. And we've talked about why people love being nostalgic. But, you know, I was kind of looking at like some millennial trends that have been coming back, things that we cannot forget about. That was like my heyday, you know, growing up. I think a lot of you guys out there are millennials from what I gather. Although, you know, some might be older or younger, but I think we can all respect what millennials have been through.
What's the millennial ages again? I actually just looked at a chart of this recently to try and update myself to remember.
Yeah, because you're Gen X for sure.
For sure.
That's a good question. Millennial
like
age
what
range.
is the, you know, Gen?
So it says that millennials is right now current age from 28 to 43.
Okay.
So millennials are the generation born between 1981 and 1996. Wow, that's 1996. Oh my God, that feels like that's so late, but yeah, I guess. And even 28, I thought like I was like kind of on the cusp end or like early, but I guess not. So I would think a lot of you guys are probably millennials then for the most part. Yeah, Generation X, born 1965 to 1980.
That would be me.
So that's you. And then there's boomers, 1955 to 1964. Interesting.
Boomers was only 55?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait. There's Boomers 2. Boomers 1
was earlier,
is
right?
earlier than that. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
My
Boomers
parents
is
are
a big
boomers, but
age.
they were both born before 55.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff. And then there's Gen Z, and then Alpha is the newest
I
generation.
think James's Science Corner next week is going to dive in and decide why these lines were cut off as they were.
That's a great question. Do you know the answer to that
No,
already?
I don't. I'm going to look into it.
Yeah. And how they come up with the names.
I like the definition of them. Like, I like that they're doing that more now. And it's a newer thing. I don't remember being called Generation X. I just remember hearing about what was called the greatest generation were the people from World War I, because they went through the end of the Industrial Revolution. They went through the Great Depression, and then there was World War I, right? So that,
they went through it too. They went through it.
Well, we'll breaking that down next time.
Yeah. Depending on time, how much time we have. But
no, next time.
Next time. Okay. Yeah, next time. That would be interesting. That would be an interesting thing to research. And I also have a weird watch for you that I've been really obsessed with. And I feel like we haven't done a weird watch in a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. And I don't think you've heard of it. Super underrated. I have not heard anyone talking about this show, and it's worth it. It's worth the watch. And then of course, we have James Science Corner, which is some happy science news.
I'll try and keep it positive.
I know. Well,
there's some negatives with it, but
totally.
We'll make it all thankful.
Yeah. Happy. Yeah. We're going to try and make happy positive science news. And then of course we have some great secrets this week. So let's get into it. And right just before we do, quick reminder. Obviously I am planning out a bunch of shows. I've actually been talking to some comedy clubs in Atlanta and in Florida again. Atlanta, which funny enough, like kind of random story. The only time I've ever been to Atlanta, and I don't know if was that your first time going to Atlanta with me, was when I auditioned for The Voice.
Which you should have won.
I don't know. Who knows? Everything works out how it's supposed to, but I went to audition for The Voice. I think that was like 2019, like right before COVID.
It was before COVID.
The year
I know
before COVID.
that.
And obviously, spoiler alert, I didn't get it. But we haven't like really explored Atlanta. I feel like
we got to go back. We got to go to Fred's Meat and Bread.
Okay. Sandwich place?
Yeah, it's apparently, and no offense, it's one of the best cheesesteak sandwiches on the planet.
What?
As said by one of my favorite celebrity chefs, Elton Brown.
Okay.
Elton Brown was kind of at the ground floor of the whole Food Network. Like, he's one of the originators. He had a show, Good Eats, which is a throwback, probably one of my favorite all-time cooking shows.
Okay.
But he always raved about Fred's Meat and Bread.
Okay.
So for those of you going to or being in Atlanta,
oh, you know what else? If we're in Atlanta, we got to see if we can go to Lake Lanier.
Oh, yes.
There's some haunted, spooky places near Atlanta, too. So, obviously, once things get closer, we'll let you guys know. Also been talking to some places out west. So, things are coming. More dates for 2025 coming soon. But the last date, pretty much the last show of this year, we're going to Baltimore in less than 2 weeks. We'll be at Magooby's Joke House right outside of Baltimore.
What a great name.
I know, isn't that fun? Magooby's. And it's going to be Thursday, November 21st. Shows at 7:30. Tickets are available at SamanthaRamsdale.com/events. And of course, there's a meet and greet too afterwards. So we'll make sure to say hi to you guys, get photos, and obviously let us know if you listen. And if you're a weirdling too, we give you special treatment.
Always. If anyone's at a show and I come around at the beginning to get the secrets, just tell us you listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
And we only say it here, so that's why I know you listen to the podcast.
Right, exactly.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah. No, we love it.
Yes,
special treatment, VIPs.
Love hearing when people podcast.
Yeah. So anyway, I feel like we got to talk about the Yellowstone premiere.
Let's start there.
So if you have seen my Instagram, we got to go to the Yellowstone premiere, and James and I, that's like one of our shows that, first of all, like definitely one of our favorite shows of all time. And it's been one of our favorite shows to watch together. And we've watched like the whole series, like we watched 1883, 1923,
it's one of those shows that you kind of plan your dinner around. You know
Yeah.
when it's dropping, and we
Yes,
both just
that is one of those shows that we will drop everything to be like, oh my God, Yellowstone's back, on Sunday nights, whatever. So, and obviously, if you've been following Yellowstone, they've been off for a little bit, and it is back. Technically, when we're recording this, it's back tonight, Sunday, November 10th. But I got invited. I don't even know, you guys. Like sometimes I just get random emails. I don't know how people get my email. I mean, I'm sure I'm on some list somewhere. Obviously, you can find my email online. It's on my website. It's like in my bio. But I got an email that was like from this PR company, and they were like, you've been invited to go to the screening and to the premiere of Yellowstone. You get to see the first episode back, and you get to walk the red carpet, and you're also invited to this after party. And I'm like, told James immediately, I'm like, we have to go, like, clear your schedule. Like, we're going into the city to go to this event.
Yep.
Because of course, this was my first premiere I'd ever gone to. And first time walking the red carpet, and it's with Yellowstone. Like that was like a dream. We're both obsessed with the show. We've been dying for it to come back. So it was at the Museum of Modern Art. This was Thursday night, last Thursday. And I just like you don't know what to expect. Like when it's your first like kind of premiere red carpet, I knew it was going to be nice and fancy. Thank God. Like we almost were like, I'm like, there was this part of me that was like, should I wear like one of my crazy cowboy outfits? Like with the
there were
boots
some
and the
people
jorts.
that were dressed a little different there, but I'm glad we
nothing
went
crazy
the way we
like
went.
what I was thinking. Like, some people just had cowboy hats on, or like some, a little more Western of an outfit, but it was all like people were very dressed up. So thank God that I didn't, because I don't think I would have been let in. But of course, like the red carpet, it was so cool. We got to see the premiere, which is so good. Obviously, you got to see what happens. I think this is officially the last season. So they're going to like kind of wrap this up. There, I heard rumors there might be some more spin-offs coming soon.
Well, they already are working on, and I got to talk to one of the execs there.
Oh, you did?
Well, we were at the premiere. Why not talk to some people?
Right.
They are working on it, but that is after this. Like it's
They got to finish this
after.
first, and then
so now that they're done with it, now they're starting to really think about 1923.
Yeah,
right. That was the more popular
that like
one.
dropped us off too at like the weirdest spot. How it ended.
I lied. I think 1883
or 1883. I don't. Who knows?
I'm trying to remember. Nope. I lied.
There's a couple others too, like that Ranch 6666.
1923 was the one that got really good testing. If they can bring the whole cast
it was
back,
so good.
Yeah, but they have to bring the whole cast back because that guy has become whatever his name was.
Super famous.
He's become so much more popular now.
I know. I forget. He was in. It Ends With Us. What's this? You guys know what we're talking about. So we like got to see the screening, and like the actors were like, the cast was kind of in the back, and we were kind of like separate. Like they kind of had their own red carpet moment. And then we get to go to this after party. And, at first I was like, it might not be like that great, like there might not be there. Like, I don't know if the whole cast is going to be there. It might be kind of crowded and too much. We'll just go for a little bit. And of course, the entire cast is there. Also, there was like a VIP section where all the cast was.
Yeah, I made I'll take a little credit on that.
Yeah,
one.
And James was just like, let's just go in. Like, what are they, because it is like, what are they going to do? Like, tell us to get out of the VIP section?
We grabbed the table, and everybody needed a table.
That was, like,
so
reserved.
we just invited everyone over.
Yeah, and then anyone who like needed, we just had people, and then we'd always, whoever like came to our table. Teeter was one of the first girl, or Sarah Landon. She was there, and we were just talking to her, sitting at or standing at our table, and all of a sudden, like literally 30 seconds into just being like chatting, I was like, holy shit, you're Teeter, because she looks so different, obviously all dressed up and without her hair.
And no accent. She's so sweet too.
So sweet. She was one of the nicest.
Yeah.
By far. Like she was chatting with us. Like you would never know that she was like this huge star of the show. She was just so sweet. And of course, like everyone, all the favorites. Rip was there.
The whole cast was there.
Pretty much everyone. And of course, like I was being annoying. If you saw on social media, I did see Piper Perabo, who is the lead in Coyote Ugly and is also in Yellowstone. And someone was like, did you ask her if you were going to sing? And I was like, no. I just went up and I was like, Can I get a photo with you?
Which is hilarious.
And then I just turned on video and just started singing.
That's you were really on point.
I
that
maybe
night.
had a couple glasses of Prosecco.
You were doing fantastic.
But
I was so proud of you.
Literally gave no fucks. Like, I was just going up and talking to these people. And I'm like, if this is my chance, like, who knows when I'll get invited to another one. I love this cast so much. I love the show. I'm doing it.
Yep.
You know, YOLO. So I got photos with mostly everyone except for Beth.
That's okay.
And which is fine, you know, obviously
it was busy.
Totally respect everyone's, you know, boundaries. But I did go up to her and was just like, I was trying to like sneak in and like, you kind of like look for those opportunities and see if they're open and they're talking to other people. And she was kind of, you know, very closed off, kind of in her little corner most of the night. Didn't really look like she was talking to many other people outside of her section.
I think she's a little, in a good way.
And
she's
turns
a
out like people messed with her. They're like, she's super introverted. She's British. And, you know, apparently like that's, you know,
totally different culture.
Like they don't take photos a lot of the times. And like
everyone else, most of the other people in that cast have been in other big things and been in this situation.
And,
this was her first, like outside of theater, this was her first really big hit.
Yeah. So I didn't get a photo with her, but again, totally respect that. Like whatever, I still love her. And it was just so amazing. So, you know, hopefully maybe we get invited to another, but maybe I also...
For the football fans out there, we got to meet Tracy Wolfson from CBS.
Oh, yeah.
Sports.
She was just standing with us and hanging out with us, too. And I, you know, it's like, you don't know who most of these people are. There's no name tags or anything. So James was talking to her.
She's like a sideline reporter.
Yeah, she's like a huge reporter for CBS
deal
Sports.
For the NFL. Yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, so James got to nerd out for a while. So that was pretty cool. So if you missed some of our photos and some of the behind the scenes, I have a whole highlights in my Instagram, too, for you to check out. But pretty cool. On other news, I feel like I have to talk about this, even though like this was like I could bring this up as a topic, but there's not much else to talk about other than these people are morons. And these are the people who let 43 monkeys loose out of a research facility in South Carolina. And they Oh my God. Sorry. My phone is playing an ad. And first of all, obviously so sad because like, it makes me worried. Like this is one of those facilities that probably is doing some shady shit to these animals behind the scenes. So it's just like so sad, but they haven't been able to capture them. This happened on Wednesday. And as of yesterday, like they haven't updated today. They've only captured one.
Wait, they've only got one?
They've only got one.
Good for you, monkeys.
I know. So it was like, run, monkeys. But apparently they broke loose from Alpha Genesis facility. And they didn't even say like how this happened. Like they gave like some other examples. Like a couple of years ago, apparently a truck had crashed and was carrying monkeys in it. But they were able to get the monkeys back within a couple hours. And a lot of the times it was because these monkeys too were like drugged up. So it was kind of easy to catch them, where these ones were young and like apparently hadn't been like tested on yet. So they're like babies just like kind of going nuts. And it is like, it's kind of like good, like let them go. But like they literally, all they could say was just to the residents, lock your windows, lock your doors, call 911 if you see a monkey, but like, do not try to chase them. Do not try to trap them. They're like trying to trap them somehow.
What kind of monkeys were they?
They are
like a rhesus monkeys?
Macaque primates. I don't know, whatever that means.
Like a rhesus monkey.
Rhesus monkey. Yeah.
Okay.
Rhesus monkey.
What they usually commonly test.
RHESUS.
Yeah. Rhesus.
Yeah. I know, it's so sad. Like this like also reminds me too like how shitty that is. Like animal testing makes me so sad. That was like in high school. I wrote my huge like junior year thesis on animal testing and like how bad it is.
It's horrible. It is.
So if you live in South Carolina, watch out for the monkeys. If you see them, don't call 911. What I'm saying is let them go. Because I feel like they could like probably live in South Carolina.
Where is this South Carolina?
And apparently there is. So like,
how close to the coast are they?
this is what I was just gonna say. There is an island it's Morgan Island, but everyone calls it Monkey Island because this is where the research facility is. And
So they're on an island.
so they're on an island technically. But like I think like that's what they said, they're on an island. So I'm like, then how do they
not catch them?
Right. Like I don't know if it's one of those islands though where it's like there's streets also leading from it. You know what I mean?
Get more info,
but
I just hope that the monkeys don't die horrible deaths because they're
totally
right. I'd rather them get captured and brought somewhere good.
Right.
Hopefully, like, not the zoo is perfect, but it's better than a research facility.
Yeah, for sure. Like some sort of sanctuary.
Hopefully they brought to a sanctuary.
Yeah. But I'm curious if any of you South Carolina people live near here and have been on the lookout for any of the monkeys. It's, and the other thing too is people are like, oh my God, if they were like tested on, like, do they have these diseases that could spread? And because they were babies, they hadn't been tested on
yet.
Yeah.
But again, there's so many different types of testing that they do. It might have nothing to do with diseases.
Totally. Well, that was my senior thesis. My junior thesis in high school. Like a lot of like these makeup.
That's the first place I went is
makeups or lotion, like human products that, right. Like it's not going to be like Ebola, but, testing different lipsticks and see how they react, which is so sad.
Isn't it? Let's just back up for a second and we'll talk about the food industry too. Isn't it kind of scary that the people that spray our food to protect it have to wear protective gear? Like we put stuff on our food that isn't supposed to touch our skin. We have to test on animals for makeup. And I can't begin to speak about how important the makeup industry probably is to most women because I'm not in that. I don't have that mindset. Right. But the fact that we still turn a blind eye to the fact that people are potentially putting things on our skin that may cause harm. Like, what? We got some rethinking to do.
No, it's so crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So anyways, not turn negative, but I just kind of like the positive news that the monkeys are free. And I like to think that they can, survive out there.
Spoiler alert. The reason I brought part of that up is it'll be in the science corner.
Oh,
a little foreshadowing.
So I just feel like we need to talk about that. If you guys haven't heard of that. Also, I didn't want to bring this up too, because it's so also kind of sad, but we live in Connecticut, obviously. There are like wildfires around here that we like never have wildfires. There's wildfires in New Jersey and Connecticut. It hasn't rained here in 100 days.
It finally rained a little today.
And it finally rained a little bit today.
Does that count as rain? I mean, it was more of a sprinkle.
They said that it's like not going to touch the fires, but like, what are we like living in?
This wouldn't have been able to stop a fire. No, there was.
Yeah,
I mean, it rained,
that's what they were like.
Barely it was a drizzle.
Yeah, it was like a sprinkle. But anyways, we're being positive.
Yeah, super positive so far.
The world's burning. Help. Okay, well, let's talk about some positive things because we love Thanksgiving here. I would say, and I think we've talked about this before, Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays of all time.
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
You would say it's number one?
Yeah, I think number one.
Especially because the way we celebrate it.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving's like a special time.
But even back in childhood, like Thanksgiving was hunting and football.
Totally.
That's Wisconsin. This is hunting season. So
yeah, it is. I would say, I would say most people probably put it in their top two. I would think most people think Christmas, whatever.
I have to be between Thanksgiving, and then the other two for me are between Halloween and 4th of July.
Right.
I like Christmas. I'm not anti-Christmas. Maybe I'm just a little bit. There's so much with Christmas.
Yeah, there is. But
I like the relaxing holidays. 4th of July,
there's no pressure.
For Thanksgiving and 4th of July, just
completely agree.
Yeah.
And again, I think we had told you guys too that we're going to Jamaica this year for Thanksgiving. And we do this pretty much every year. Like this is like our time for like our special travel, like obviously we're traveling a lot throughout the year, but a lot of it is, for shows or for specific content and stuff.
Which is fun as hell.
Which is of course fun. And of course, like it's still amazing and so grateful we get to do that. But when we go to Jamaica, this is like our time. We can just cut loose with the fam.
This is our vacation.
It's our special vacation. And of course, it's always around my birthday, and our anniversary is in November too. So it's kind of like we like celebrate a bunch of things at once. But it's funny. Like I was like trying to look up, I'm like, yeah, like how do you like really celebrate Thanksgiving? Like are there like Thanksgiving decorations or things that you can do? And even though like this article is like kind of silly because it's like here are the things that you can do to help celebrate Thanksgiving. And a lot of it is like, you know, like have a wine swap, do a turkey trot, you know. But I think there are some good things in here. Number one, I think there is like a big thing about like giving back, of course. And that's like, I feel like the thing that we try to think about, or I try to think about specifically around this time of year is like, what's one way we can give back, which, you know, it's cliche, but we did the toys, bought kids' toys this year, which I know it was more early December. But I wanted to like put that out there. Like, what's something that we could do for Thanksgiving that's giving back and for the community? And, you know, like I would think too, like, you know, around food normally is also like working at a food pantry or something like that.
Well, I mean, our anniversary kind of circles around how we met at Tony Robbins, and Tony always talks about he feeds tens, hundreds of thousands of families. I think he's in the millions now.
Yeah.
Over Thanksgiving. So, I mean, that's something we can discuss. We could look at donating or volunteering at the Stanford Food Shelter.
I was going to see if there was, I mean, obviously we're not going to be here for Thanksgiving.
That's the problem.
But I know. But either like before or after we leave.
We could do before or after, or also set up to do more over Christmas.
True. That's why I know. Then it kind of bleeds into Christmas stuff. Yeah. But have you ever been to a shelter for food shelter?
Yes.
I will say my mom used to do that a ton. We used to do that a ton as kids. There was in Portland, Maine. They had like a really like amazing setup that you could like go online and sign up to be a volunteer. And they let like kids do it, which I always thought was really cool. You know, like there would be young kids helping to.
It's important to learn that stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool. So, so maybe that's something, you know, to celebrate Thanksgiving, because it is like at the base of it, Thanksgiving, giving thanks, being grateful.
I've got another one that I want to mention.
Please.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, and maybe we tie it into a science corner. I also think of it. So we could say, you brought it up on an earlier podcast about how Thanksgiving is us being thankful, but if you really look at the holiday around Thanksgiving, we again did some horrible things as people back then.
Yeah.
So I think one thing I'm going to do this year is learn more about some of the Native Americans that are in this Connecticut area.
Oh, okay.
Just a little understanding and awareness, right?
That's actually a really good idea. You know what else is? We actually have some reservations not too far from us. Mm-hmm. When I had gone to Foxwoods, there's this big casino in Connecticut. When we went, remember there was like this huge celebration that they were having. I forget when we went, but there was something going on. Yeah. And they're like, you really should go. You can go on the reservation, and they have like this huge museum and just like the history of Connecticut in this area and Native Americans. And so that's something nice that we could do too. I would love to learn more about that.
Yeah. I've been thinking about it. You know, it comes down to having awareness of the past. It's nothing we can change or control, but rather than be mad at it, learn from it and do something positive for the future.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea.
Foreshadowing. It's going to be in James' Science Corner too.
Foreshadowing.
I'm tying it all together.
Wow. Okay. Also, the other thing, and one of my best friends just ran the New York Marathon. But a lot of people, one of the biggest things they say.
Congratulations,
my
Devin.
friend Devin, if
Good
she's out
job,
there,
Devin, if
girly,
you're listening,
you crazy
you're
son of a
fabulous.
Bitch, is doing a turkey trot.
You said you would never run.
Okay, a 5K.
3.1 miles.
I could think about. I would think about it. I'm not saying I would do it.
I would love to do a turkey trot
but
with you.
I honestly,
we could dress up.
I feel like I've made fun of that so much for so many years, forever, my whole life. I'm like, I would rather die.
I can be at the finish line because, well, I'm going to finish before you, and then I'll.
Wow, you want to race? That's what you're saying?
If you want to.
You guys, James and I will race.
I'm not going to hold back.
Okay, let's do it. Let's race. Not this year, obviously. We can't. I know that's the thing is we're never really home. What do you mean? We'll be in Jamaica.
Oh, I thought we were leaving. Wait, I thought we were leaving after.
We leave the day before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, Thanksgiving's so late this year?
I know, it's super late.
It is. Why is it so late?
I don't know. Who knows?
I thought it was a week before.
I could be. I could think
maybe
about
there's a race around Christmas time.
Maybe there's a race. Maybe we'll set up our own race in Jamaica with drinking involved. You have to like take a shot at every lap.
Yeah, duh. There are beer runs like that. There's a beer and M&M run. It's like
what?
There's one. I did one. I think this one that I did was 8 miles. This is back when I used to run all the time. And every mile you have to like eat M&Ms and chug a beer.
That's insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's people throwing up all over the place. Oh yeah.
That is so much fun. Dumb.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's the other thing. Like when you see some of these videos from the New York Marathon, and like some of these people, like like they'll be on the sidelines, like people with shots to give you a.
Oh yeah.
And like people drinking. Like some guy was like taking shots of Fireball.
Oh hell yeah! Once you get in, if you're like just doing it more for fun and not competition, oh yeah, you stop and have a beer.
That's insane. While you're running, mid-run.
Yeah.
Is wild. That's crazy. So anyways, just a couple things. The other things are just stupid. Like that's the thing is I couldn't really find any other like things that really inspired me. A lot of it is like write a list of things you're thankful for.
We came up with some good things.
But I think we came up with some good things.
We smashed that list.
We smashed that list. Also, just to kind of go through these little variety of weird stories and weird things to talk about. Again, with my birthday coming up, turning 35. I know. I don't know. I think we should go back and read
29.
29.
You're so smart. But you're not always great at math. Like sometimes you miss.
Wow.
I'm saying that's that to be positive about your age.
That's really hurtful, James. Yeah, I would like to see if we could do a recount on check my birth certificate.
Yeah.
No. I had seen this one article. Basically, what I wanted to talk about is that Yamaguchis are coming back. Wait, am I pronouncing that right? Wait.
Like Christina Yamaguchi, the figure skater? She's fantastic.
Wait, no, I meant...
I didn't... In my heart, she never went away. She's been here the whole time.
I meant Tamagotchi.
Oh, Christina Yamaguchi, also very good.
I know. I don't know why I said that, but it's close. But she's also a millennial icon.
So close.
Millennial icon. Tamagotchis. Did you ever have these?
I do. I have zero idea what that is.
What? Oh my God, I'm so glad I get to enlighten you because apparently these are coming back. This is like, there are like some millennial trends coming back.
Snack?
No. James, Tamagotchis. So when I was a kid, this was everything. Basically, it was a keychain. This was like obviously before cell phones or like cell phones were just starting. But it was like this little like thing you held in your hand, but you put it on your keychain and you had to feed it and like keep it alive. And it was basically like your own little pet.
Oh, I can see you loving
and
that.
Like you got a Tamagotchi and you'd have to feed it every day. You like go on this little like handheld device and like feed it. And like you'd have to like check in on it and like clean it. All like on this little, like it was so like stupid, but it was like everyone had one. It was like, how's your Tamagotchi? Like, how old's your Tamagotchi?
These are coming back.
And apparently they're coming back. I literally am just on Amazon. Like I could literally order one. And you can like order different types of Tamagotchis, like depending on, what you like. It was obviously a Japanese toy that became really, really popular in like the early 2000s. And apparently like you can also like at the time, I was like trying to think. I'm like, I don't know how they did this because it didn't like have Wi-Fi, but it was like it could make friends. And apparently now they're like making it so like it does have Wi-Fi. So like you can like connect and like your Tamagotchi can play with your friend's Tamagotchi. And it's like almost like Sims.
Okay.
Like Sims, like at the most basic level, except it's like a pet on like a little keychain on your like
Got
in
it.
your hand. And it'd be like $10 and it was like the coolest thing ever. Same with like what were those also like things that look like a gremlin, that other toy. Do you know what I'm talking about, James?
No, now I just want to watch the movie Gremlins.
Not gremlin, it was not a gizmo. Was it a gizmo? Oh, maybe it
Gizmo
was
is
called a gremlin. Maybe it was a gremlin.
maybe it is.
But like you got to like have like this little pet.
That's
Like
Gizmo.
yeah.
That is Gizmo.
That is Gizmo. I was trying to show James what it looked like.
Rambo. Sorry,
Whoa, that was
that's
good.
Gizmo, yeah.
Yeah, they were these little toys that would like again like you had to feed it and it would talk to you. And
you can't feed Gizmo after midnight.
Well, of course. And I think they were like almost based off of when Gremlins went
That
crazy.
literally is if that's what it is, that is Gremlins.
That's so funny.
Have you
Oh my
ever
God, I
seen
should buy
Gremlins?
one. Of course I've seen Gremlins.
I
It was
loved
so
the movie
spooky.
Gremlins.
Also, apparently flip phones are coming back too. Like people are trying to make flip phones a thing, which is insane. I don't know why people would do that. Like they're trying to like make like actual phones. Were you with me? Who bought Ross had that phone. Do you see he could like flip it up?
Yes.
There's like newer versions of flip phones.
Samsung has been putting together like flip style phones, but they are trying to come up with like full screen flip phones.
Which is so crazy. Like the further like we advance, like the more you come back.
Yeah.
Same thing with like, which we're gonna get into when I talk about my weird watch really quick. But like all of these streaming services, like I've been seeing like some of these like videos on TikTok of these kids being like, what if we just like put them all together and you just like had channels you you mean cable?
That's where this was gonna go anyway. I mean, the format of cable isn't going anywhere.
Right.
It's how a TV works.
Right.
It's all you can do. There's channels and then you watch them.
Right. But it's just like, but now at the end of it, I feel like we're just spending more money for like paying all of these
that's where it was going to go.
For streaming. When it was like, wait, cable was way cheaper, I feel like.
Let's just play the simple game and not conspiracy wise, but follow the money. Do you think that do you think that NBC, CBS, Fox, and all that, do you think that they would have let this happen if it didn't have profit for them in the future?
True. No.
There's no and I'm not saying that they could have shut down the streaming services, but they all could have talked together and been like, hey, we need to figure this out. No, it gives them a chance to be separate from cable. Cable is the one that is at risk, right? Like the offshoots of Charter and Spectrum, right?
Yeah.
That's the industry that's going to be hurt, not the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
They have to spend a hell of a lot of money. Well, they're spending a lot on apps and development of apps and security.
True.
Right? There's another different cost to them. But I don't think for a second they would have let this sort of thing happen without knowing that there's an end game.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, the Gremlin toy, it was called a Furby. This is what it looked like, but it was basically like looked like a gremlin.
Not a gremlin.
Oh my God, it was so crazy. And like these things were like also like creepy, like they would go off in the middle of the night. Like that's why I kind of had to get rid of like all my automatic toys because they would scare the shit out of me because they would just start going off in the middle of the night and like doing a bunch of weird shit. But like I miss those. I kind of like I want to see if I could buy a Furby. That would be sick. Anyway, so just like kind of nostalgic things with my birthday coming up, like when times were easier, simpler times. Okay, just kind of, again, bopping around from thing to thing. I need to talk about this. Speaking of cable and all these random ass streaming services, I'm going to talk to you about a show, Weird Watch, that I need you to watch. I've been telling James how much I'm obsessed with this show because I kind of wanted to try it out a little bit because it's on a random ass network and I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. So it's called From, and it's on the network AMC Plus, which I didn't even know there was an AMC
American
Plus.
Movie Channel, right?
Right. But it's like, I didn't know that AMC had their own Plus now too, but apparently they do. And it's created by MGM, which like apparently they're trying to like make a comeback and make their own type of.
Well, MGM's already, you know what
right,
they are, right?
right. But like
they're a gigantic movie TV studio. It's no different than Paramount. Paramount just bought out CBS.
I feel like I don't see brought to you by MGM on a lot of TV
We've been
shows.
To a ton of movies.
Well, movies, but TV shows.
MGM bought all of them. Like they didn't. Okay. Yeah.
Kind of
like
it just wouldn't
Paramount bought CBS, right? Paramount was a separate movie studio, but these studios are absolving some of these other smaller companies.
Oh, okay.
Not that CBS was small by any means, but
right. Well, this show. So I had a couple friends, Chloe, yes. If you're listening, shout out. And one of my friends, Ashlyn. And when two of like my close friends recommend a show and they were like, you will love it, I'm like, okay, I feel like I got to check this out.
Those two both know you very well.
Yeah, like know me very well. Like they were like, you're going to be into the show. It's super weird. So I went on AMC Plus and they just happened to have the 7-day free trial. Like I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to pay for this show to take a chance on it. But they had a 7-day free trial and it was one night, either you were watching sports or something. And I was like, oh, I'll just watch the first episode. And it's so good. You can get the free trial, obviously. And then apparently, like, I might even end up buying it because apparently there's 3 seasons now. And it's only like $5 a month. So it's not horrible. Like maybe you just keep it, and just binge the show, the seasons and whatever. But it's from the creators of Lost. And also I heard some of the creators of Walking Dead too, which makes so much sense. It's like a mix of Lost and Walking Dead. Did you ever watch Lost? I feel like you said you never did, right?
I know of it, but no, yeah. I don't know a lot about Lost.
That would, like, if we ever, like, I don't know, needed like years of our life to kill off, because that's a long series.
Super long series. Like it was on seasons forever.
But it's so good. It's about this town that people will randomly be on like a road trip or driving somewhere, and then they just randomly pull up on this town and then they can never leave. So once you're there, you cannot leave. So it's like, like 50 people living in this town who have been there for, some have been there for years, some have been there for months. I think the guy who's been there the longest has been there like over 40 years. And what's spooky about it is that at night, these creatures come out. Like it's kind of like this zombie. It's why it has like a little bit of Walking Dead in it too. These creatures come out and try and kill you. So like you have to keep like your doors and windows locked at night, because if they see you and they invite you in and they like put you over your like, kind of like manipulate you to let them in, they'll like rip you apart, zombie like. And so it's like one of those shows, like I always love a weird premise where it already starts you out and you're like, wait, what are they gonna do to like come up with a solution for this? That's the only thing with some of these shows that have a really weird premise. It's like, all right, how are they gonna get out of this? Like, how are they gonna explain this? And I feel like sometimes some shows have a hard time with that.
Isn't it usually something that it's incredibly simple, but just not, it's almost too simple in a good way, but it's like a twist that that's what a good twist is.
Right.
A twist is always, the best twists are always super simple. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy, wow, they did a good job of distracting me from that.
Yeah. But, apparently like season 3 is going on right now and like they're obviously still in the town. So, so check it out. Let me know what you think. I haven't heard like anyone else talking about it. So if you've been watching it, From. Yeah. So good. Again, and especially if you like Lost and like Walking Dead and just like shows with weird premises, it's very weird. It also is a little spooky too, because of course like the monsters at night are spooky, but so good. That's my weird watch. And I think with that, it might be time for James Science Corner. It's a science corner. He is the corner and it's science based.
I could do like a Neil Diamond spiff.
Sweet James Science Corner.
Maybe not Sweet Caroline.
Oh, okay.
We'll get a little deeper track. for people?
A deep cut.
Deep Neil Diamond cut.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
So you sent me this.
I did. I've been seeing videos on this. I wanted to talk about it.
So why did you think it was important to cover this?
Well, so I had seen this all over TikTok, and I just like I had seen the story of like this woman who was going to this cove, and like her and like this whole group of people were just like sobbing, crying that these whales were back. And they were like ringing this bell, and everyone in the town was freaking out that these whales were back in this cove. And I like kind of, was looking a little bit at it, but I was like, oh, this will be a good thing for James to look into and see like what's the good news about the whales.
Do you know why it's such good news?
I know. Well, I had a feeling the reason that they hadn't been in there before was because some humans did some fucked up thing.
Yeah. So that's why we want to stay. We're trying to stay positive and grateful.
Right.
I'm going to say thankful. Again, back to what I brought up about also, what happened with Native Americans and what we did and numbers of things throughout history that have happened horrible, and we had to get past them as a culture and learn from it. Right. I think that the Black Lives Matter movement was one of the more recent ones that was really important. Right. And as we're getting into being more open, talking about, it took a long time before people that were gay were able to be more comfortable, even though they aren't always, right? And now we're into the transgender world. We have to know as a culture and society that we will get past these things, right? Now I know I'm starting super big, but I needed to set up. That's why I'm bringing up about awareness, right? Having an understanding of how much we can affect the world, right? And you brought up the monkeys. The monkeys are also related to this that escaped.
That's what I was kind of like. They're kind of on the same similar
it's
line.
all similar, connected. All of these things I'm talking about is us as humans. We think we're in control when we're not. We're a part of all this.
Yeah.
We just happen to be the apex, if you want to use the term predator, and we can control, but we also shouldn't be so arrogant and ego focused that we're taking away the things under us. And what have we learned over time? Maybe we do need to look, I'm going to say some words now, and let's not get too extreme. What do we need to do about the women's makeup industry? That's what I love about Pamela Anderson's movement of not wearing makeup.
I know.
Right?
Well, and like things are getting cleaner. Like people are getting more aware, like looking for wasn't tested on animals.
Like that stuff needs to go away. Bigger, it needs to go away that people are using things of any kind on makeup, and that it sucks that women have to feel so much pressure that you might have to put something on their face that can eventually hurt them. That sucks that you have to do that. Right. And again, I know I'm talking very grandiose here, and it's like stuff that we can't just shift away from, but small changes can make a huge difference. And why we're talking about it in regards to what these orcas in Penn Cove in the 70s.
Where is it, in Canada?
No, it's in Washington.
Okay.
State of Washington.
I was wondering where exactly Penn Cove was.
And what happened was horrible.
Yeah.
I think it was in the 70s. Back when the boom in 80s were coming, right? 80s was just a time of real corporate stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted to build animal parks, and this guy I didn't look up how, and I don't even want to know, and we should never allow this stuff. Like 80 orca got captured, like 5 of them died but got covered up, and they got captured and brought into captivity.
And didn't they use like explosives and like
they
crazy
were using
shit?
Dynamite. They were using nets to round them up and scared the living hell out of these things.
Yeah. And
some of these orca lived to be 50 years. Yeah, it was in 70 and 71. One of them very famous was a very, very young orca, which is Tokite, right? Which has been in captivity for 50 years, and a lot of people have seen it. It's a very famous,
like at SeaWorld
orca.
or something.
Yeah, and it just died in 2023. In captivity for 50 years. These things live to be that old. And they're also so smart and so aware of the world. They're beings just like us. And we thought back then, well, they're just animals, right? Just like testing, just animals, right? And yes, as a hunter, you might say, well, James, you're a hunter, you've been. There's a big difference between an apex predator hunting and using resources, right? Because wolves are going to hunt deer. It's part of the food chain.
Right.
But doing it just for entertainment, or
yeah.
just to do it. Now we're in a whole different world, and those things can't be compared. You're comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we took all these orca, and I think that, again, there's a positive lesson in there, that we affected that little section of the world so much
Yeah.
that no orca came back to that for 50 years. And they
So
came back, and
crazy.
there's people that were alive back then that remembered it. Some of them were
That's what
young,
maybe I'd
and
seen
they were
too, that there are
crying.
people who remembered that incident and now got to watch them
And
come
I'm
back.
getting chills telling that part of the story. And now I'm going
Yeah.
to go watch some of those videos because I didn't. But that's such a cool part of the story, that
Yeah.
the orcas came back, and some of the wildlife behaviorists that came out, because that's a big area for seafood. Geez, sea. That's a big area to do like research, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of really smart marine biologists there, and they were watching the behaviors, and the there have been orcas that do come through there feeding, but none of them ever stay. Now,
Mm.
part of the reason that they know this is this very famous orca. Uh, I know Tokite, right? I keep
Yep.
saying it wrong. This very famous orca would only use calls in the pen for 50
Mm.
years
Mm.
that its family used, literally their own language.
Aw.
Some of these whales were using that same, so they knew it
All
was
they knew was
related
a family.
right away, right? And the orcas were being very hesitant, but they weren't. They're feeding, which was the big part,
Yeah.
right? They were there observing, and they were looking around. They were looking up out of the water, like literally looking around, checking their
Make sure the
surroundings.
humans
And
weren't
they
gonna
went right back by the dock where all of they got grant rounded up to, right? And they even went by it. So there's some really positive behaviors
Aw.
that they were seeing. I know it's a really good story
I
and a
know.
good
So I was like, it
lesson.
is kind of like a, obviously a good news story at the end of the day, but
And at
once you get over how fucked up it is
and
to
I'm
start.
just going to be honest with our new administration. As people, we should be watching out for, what are we doing as a country? Are we destroying areas to build corporate stuff?
Yeah.
Or are we can build corporate type stuff. I'm not saying to stop it, but we can do it with the awareness of the environment and
Yeah.
what we're going to affect around, right?
Yeah.
We, and it's not just us. There's plenty of other countries in the world, but why I'm talking about it and why I brought up one of my things that I'm going to do over Thanksgiving is be more aware of some things I don't know and how those things were affected. That's something good for all of us. And that's why I want everyone to look into this and
Yeah.
not just think about this part in Washington, but what other things are we doing as humans where we're driving our ego or the society that we are part of?
Yeah.
And how can we use that to become a better part of the world rather than trying to control the whole damn thing?
Totally.
There's my soapbox speech.
I love that. That was another thing I was going to say too. There are things that also, we can do too, like even on a local level, like doing trash cleanups, like, like I need to sign up whenever we live kind of close to a beach and they're always doing cleanups down there. And it's like, I need to like get on the list when we can be, notified once that's happening again. But little things like that, like control the controllables,
This
control
is
what you
maybe
can
this
control.
episode is a good one for us to think, how can we use the things that we've been so grateful for? Like
Yeah.
maybe the Yellowstone premiere needs to also remind us, maybe we can do a little bit more to give back. And we've already talked about it. So
Yeah,
maybe that's
totally.
there's our 2025 goal. Weirdlings, you're going to hear it.
Yeah. I love that. And just, again, a little bit of good news in the science corner.
I think
for the
it's
whales.
fantastic news that they're back.
Yeah.
Things can be,
They can
that
forgive
relationship
us.
can be repaired. Yeah.
Yeah. They can, after being treated horribly so long ago, they can finally come back. It's beautiful. Thank you, James. That was a good little science corner. I thought that was a little fun, good news.
I don't know how fun it was.
Well, not fun, but I mean,
I was a little preachy, but I needed
that's
to
okay,
be.
James. Get it out of your system. All right, you guys. It is that time for secrets. And we have some good ones this week. We have a follow-up.
You told me we've had some good ones.
Yeah, we have some good ones. We have some silly ones. And you guys know this is the part of the program where we listen to your weird stories, weird secrets, weird things you do, especially, coming up on Thanksgiving. Weird, traditions that you have with your family over Thanksgiving or the holidays in general. Weird things that have happened. We always love a story of some weird shit that's happened over the holidays or Thanksgiving with the fam. And we got a good little mix today of some weird, good stories. So I'm going to start with, we got a follow-up from last week. If you guys remember, if you listened to last week's, a woman had called in and said that they went to some work party and they ended up at a strip club.
Oh, yeah.
And their boss went a little crazy and like ended up like
gave a stripper a
blowjob, like in front of,
not like took a stripper home and gave like did it on stage.
At the strip club. And we had a bunch of questions. So she did give a follow-up.
Oh, you know how much I love a follow-up call. Thank you for following up.
It's pretty good. It's wild. So here we go.
Can we before we asked for the follow-up, just as a reminder, because it's like what happened after that, right?
Right.
She had told the story. At the end of the story, they were all at work. She said it was so awkward, so weird, but she still ended the story by saying it was one of the best nights she has ever had.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued to hear about what else exactly is the fallout from this.
Totally. All right. Here we go.
Hey, Sam and James, I'm calling back because you guys had follow-up questions about the boss who blew the stripper at the bachelorette party. I don't have to whisper anymore because I'm not at work. So, you guys wanted to know what she looks like. She is a petite Latina woman. She's very, very beautiful. She's very cute. And she has a lot of money. So, I think that is like why the stripper was really, really drawn to her, was the money. But she is very pretty. How was the conversations when we got back to work the next Monday? They were just so tense, so awkward. I could tell she was obviously embarrassed because like she wouldn't look at us in the eyes anymore. But she would still, be a strong, proud woman. She was still barking her orders at us. And I think some of us respected her more for it. I know I did. And some of us lost all respect for her. So, yeah, whatever. And this is the best part of the story that I wasn't able to include earlier. She started dating the stripper. She brought him to our Christmas dinner, our company holiday party. And she didn't just bring him as arm candy. She brought him as her man. So that was loved it. Loved every second of it. Okay, guys, keep doing what you're doing. Love you. That's my baby in the back. Oh, that's my cat. Say hi.
I'm giving a slow clap for this one.
Okay, bye, guys.
Slow clap for the boss. Yeah. Cracking up.
Slow clap for the follow-up call, too.
Yes.
Thank you
that
for
was a
doing
perfect.
that.
We needed those answers.
I don't know. And not that the call was beautiful, but the whispering the first time made it very
makes sense, too, because you were at work, which is hysterical.
Wow.
Yeah. Right? That she just started dating him.
Brought him to the Christmas
party.
Hell yeah, boss lady.
I know. I love that.
That's phenomenal.
I love that.
So good. Obviously, she was single, which I think is a good part of it.
Yes.
So, right?
Yes.
Wow. And some people at work aren't going to, but the caller said she kind of respected her more because she just went past it.
Yeah.
She obviously
she owned it. It was like, yeah.
She owned it.
Yeah, she's a grown woman.
She showed a little remorse, like she was like not gonna like bring it up or not.
Yeah,
but she didn't like ask her. She didn't apologize. She didn't. No. She just owned it. No. Kept moving forward.
Of course, she's an adult. They weren't at the workplace. You're outside the workplace. Whatever.
Wow.
Let your freak flag fly. That is so amazing. Good for your boss. I was curious too, like what you guys did for work, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Whatever.
Flower shop.
Oh, right. She said a flower shop. Right.
She owned the flower shop.
Oh my God, that is so funny. That's like an episode of a TV show somewhere,
That
like
really
the flower
is.
shop.
That's phenomenal.
Goes to the strip club. Oh, I love it so much. Thank you so much for calling back in. All right. Are you ready for our next one, James? Here we go.
Crazy roommate story. To save time, I'll spare a lot of the details, but essentially, random roommate had this crazy boyfriend who was a squatter, didn't have a job, did drugs, didn't go to school, and he was always at our place. Our apartment had a keypad instead of a key, so he would come over without us there, And one weekend I came home and he was essentially eating all my food, partying with all of his friends, and it was just crazy. So I tried to get out of it. I was trying to get a subletter, and she did not want one, so she would place dildos all over my room every time I would have someone come over to look at the place. So eventually I went to the landlord and I told them I wanted to get out of it, and they agreed. So I left, and I get a letter in the mail from her probably 2 weeks later, from her so-called lawyer, saying that if I didn't pay the portion of my lease by September 31st, that they would sue me. But joke's on them, because September 31st is not a thing. And so I just never did anything with it. I just kind of laughed at it, and nothing ever happened. But I hope they had fun with that.
I am so grateful that I have never had like a crazy roommate or like had to go through that, because that would just be such a nightmare. I mean, even like in college, like when you're fighting with some of the girls you lived with or whatever, it always like sucks to like come home to like someplace you live and like your safe place, and like someone's being an asshole
Not
and like
feel
people are being,
comfortable.
not feel comfortable. Like that's the worst feeling in the world. So whenever I hear these stories, like they just like make me cringe, and like, oh, I'm just like, grateful that luckily my roommate's okay, I guess.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, me. Yeah.
But the fact that like they were putting dildos all over your room and just like the
So childish.
disrespect is so. And like, there was that show too that we were obsessed with on Netflix, like Worst Roommate Ever.
Worst roommate ever.
Oh my God, some of these like insane stories, even like these people too who then like refuse to leave, like these squatter stories.
Oh God.
I can't remember if we had talked about it a little bit ago, because it was going viral, a lot of these squatter stories, and how these like poor landlords or like roommate couldn't get out of these agreements, or can't get these people to leave.
It's horrible.
So I don't know. I haven't heard like any crazy recent stories, but like, I mean, thank God like you got out, and yeah, you don't owe like crazy amounts of money. That is funny that they put pay by September 31st, and it's like
that's what I wanted to applaud her for, that you did nothing.
Yeah, right.
Because guess what? It probably wasn't even an attorney. A lot of times people just send things from an attorney office on like
just to make it look
Yep.
scary. Yeah, so good for you for not backing down. But I always like, I always just, I don't know, these roommates, some of these stories, I feel so bad that, again, I'm like so grateful that, we don't have to go or deal with any of that or worry about that. But we always love the crazy stories. So if you have a good crazy roommate story, we had gotten a couple a while back. Any weird roommates, like weird things that your roommate does that you're like, the fuck? We'd love to hear it. So call us in if you have any weird.
Great topic.
Yeah, that's a great topic. All right. This one's also kind of a job related thing, kind of a crazy ass story. So here we go.
Hi, Sam and James. I'm literally out of breath trying to tell you my two stories, but it's work related. So I went to college in Monterey, California. I was about 19. My first job, I worked at a coffee shop, and it was owned by this super hot Italian guy. He seemed nice, but I noticed that he was having meetings in the back room with like some sketchy biker looking dudes, like wearing leather, and then also some rich Italian guys. So he would tell me not to interrupt them, and they'd be in there for like hours. I was there for a couple weeks, and he handed me my first paycheck. It was literally a roll of cash. And, being young and honest, I asked, oh, like, I don't get a pay stub or are taxes taken out? And he was like, why are you asking? I said, oh, I'm just curious. And then he looked at me like dead serious, was like, well, curiosity killed the cat. So he stopped putting me on the schedule, and I took that as I no longer had a job there, which was okay because I was kind of scared. Then the next job I got, I worked at a 5-star restaurant right on the ocean. It was known that the boss would like take the women in the back room and like pay for their stuff, like stuff would happen. And my boss and the owner would send me home if I didn't look sexy enough. I had to wear stilettos. I had to flirt with the cooks and the bartenders to get my stuff for my customers. Then one day, my boss was like, oh, he wants to see you in the back room. And I asked why, and he gave me this really weird look. So I declined, got my last paycheck. Later, they were closed down for cocaine sales. So yay, Monterey Mafia.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Right? Well, good for you, girl. Again, another girl not backing down. We love to see it.
That's absolutely, because the people that would back down and do the things that those guys wanted are just allowing it to perpetuate.
Right. Just continue. And she left me a second part too, that like she was dating an older guy too at the time. And like, again, like the boss would like ask her to like compliment the owner of the restaurant constantly, and like always doing like weird shit. And I don't know.
What a straight, like 2 back-to-back, just
I know.
It was back-to-back jobs. Like,
yeah,
that was one job right into the other.
Is that like the town? That's what I'm like. Is the town you live in like Mafia Central or something?
Monterey, California, you've been there, right by LA.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, there's a ton of money in that area,
right?
And I'm just wondering. It sounds like the service industry is run kind of like a mafia drug by people with money that can buy the property, because property there is probably really expensive.
Totally.
And probably the people that are on the up and up have so much money from either Hollywood or financial or a different type of like a more upstanding world.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, at least in this very small sample size, some of the restaurant and or service industry, coffee restaurant industry, is run by a different type of money.
Yeah. I know, it's always so crazy to like think about like the mafia like still existing and like running.
I think there's some reasons we need to bring it back. I don't know.
Like, you always think of like the 50s or 60s or what's that, the
20s and 30s and more.
But yeah.
Al Capone days.
Al Capone. Right. That is just,
I don't know. I think
crazy.
Some of the mafia needs to come back a little bit. Maybe not all the killing and bullying and beating people up, but some of their practices might need to undercut some of the other shady shit going on.
Jesus Christ. I know. We need to like see, how do you make friends with mafia people? Like, it's always like probably good to have someone from the mafia. Do you?
Oh, absolutely.
What?
Well, where I grew up was right by one of Al Capone's forts.
Right. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Here's a story, and then then we're good.
Yeah.
So what happened was, it was in high school, and I come from a very, very heavy Italian community in Wisconsin, which a lot of Wisconsin is more German and other, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very heavy Italian community. And definitely, I could give a couple of stories. I won't talk about Cappy Capra. We'll talk about my buddy Nathan. I shouldn't give the names. We'll talk about this certain family. Actually, I don't want to give their names. One of them is an attorney. So this family, very, very Italian, very old Italian in that whole area. He was having his graduation party, and some of his relatives from New York were coming in.
Yep.
Right. And you've been to my town.
Yep.
How much would like a New York person stick out in my town?
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, beyond. And this isn't Eau Claire. This is Cumberland. This is the little tiny one.
Yeah.
Right. Less than 2,000 people. These guys show up to his graduation party with like 3 big Lincoln town cars.
Mm-hmm.
They're in Wisconsin in late May, early June, and it's hot. It's like 80 degrees, but they still got like the mink coats on. I'm not kidding. Yeah, these guys, it was straight out of a movie, and these guys showed up, and they're related to all these other guys that are in town, and you could see where some of that prowess came from. Absolutely gangster stuff.
What did they do?
100%. They came, and they you could tell that one of them was kind of the Don, the main guy.
Yeah.
And all the other people brought chairs around him, and they all just kind of sat there.
Crazy.
It was really interesting. All of us, we were all talking about it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
probably stick out like a sore thumb.
Oh, it was fascinating.
There. Crazy. Yeah. If anyone's in the mafia, let us know.
They can't.
I know. I'm kidding. But, if you want to tell us secretly that you're in the mafia, that would be, amazing. It'd always be nice to have someone from the mafia on our side.
Maybe
not a bad thing to have.
Yeah.
You don't want them on your bad side. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But those are amazing secrets, amazing stories. I love the roommates. I love the weird, crazy, like job, things that happens at your job. Love a mafia story too. If anyone has any good mafia stories, anything weird, any weird run-ins with the mafia, call us in at
SpeakPipe.
That's speakpipe.com/weird and proud pod. Again, speakpipe.com/weird and proud pod. You can leave us an anonymous voicemail up to 1:30 seconds. It's going to be in the link in this podcast as well, and in our bio at Weird and Proud Pod on Instagram. Make sure you're following. But other than that, make sure to set your alarms to wish me a happy birthday on November 16th.
And don't forget to be thankful this month.
And don't forget to be thankful. Think about, something else, something that you could do for Thanksgiving this year. Either giving back or giving thanks, or like something for your community. I like that. I liked how we
do something weird to make someone laugh. That's giving back too.
Oh, totally, for sure. But we love you guys so much. We hope you have a great week. Anything else, James, you want to tell the people?
Nope. I got to go set my fantasy football lineup before the last game here.
Oh, boy. Here we go. All right. We love you guys so much.
Love you, weirdlings.
We'll talk to you later. See you later. Bye.